Good morning, y'all. It is ugly outside, but Trooper Steve on patrol, as Kathleen behind the controls would say, Trooper's gonna troop, no matter what day of the week it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday, and specifically today, or this month, is something that I don't really have much awareness to, but it falls under safety and inclusiveness, and I'm all about making sure everybody has the tools that they need in order to be safe. And it is Autism Awareness Month, and law enforcement across the country have really started to initiate different types of programs to focus on all aspects of autism when it comes to dealing with people on traffic stops and things like that, and preparation and safety and just things that you can do in order to deal with these types of situations, and of course to make sure that everything's okay. So I'm welcoming in today one of our own, again, her second appearance. Angie Casada is going to be joining us today, our reporter in the morning, but also has close ties to the autism world. Yeah. And she brought it up to me this morning. Goes, Steve, it is Autism Awareness Month. Why don't you talk about something like this? I was like, that's a great idea. So your door's still open.
Oh, just kidding. Sorry.
Just kidding. It's all right.
Sorry,
there
guys.
We go. Take two. There
Okay.
we go. It's ugly outside.
It is. And there's like chickens out here. It's so funny.
I know. I was showing Kathleen. I think that's the rooster in charge over here. There's some chickens down at the other end that I saw.
Handling business.
Out here, even in the rain. They're like, yeah, it's okay. It's raining. That's when the bugs come up. And
that's
they're like,
so
we can start
true.
munching. See, us country folk.
That's so true.
We're like us country Hispanics. They're like, yeah, the roosters come out when it starts raining. It's all right. It's not a big deal. So, Angie, it's Autism Awareness Month.
Yes.
You have personal ties with autism.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
For sure.
Especially someone to come out and to talk about it. Not everyone's willing to. They deal with it in their own way. But it's almost like a sense of advocacy for you, right?
For sure. So, like, that's the biggest thing, Steve. So I have a 3.5-year-old. She's going to be 4 in July.
All right.
And from early signs, probably at the age of just when she turned 2, we started noticing right away that there was some milestones that weren't being met.
What?
Like there was a speech delay. She did some things that she probably should have done on her own. She wasn't as independent, right? Like the holding of the spoon, little things like that. But the biggest thing was the speech delay. And from there, that evolved into little things that we started noticing, which I've learned and I've educated myself. It's known as stimming. So little things, habits that they do. So, and they do it on a very consistent basis. It's almost comforting to them. It's something that allows them to kind of get familiar with their area. With my daughter, she points with everything with her middle finger. Instead of pointing with her pointer finger, she points and she...
I'm sure that could make for an interesting
it's so
parenting experience.
Yeah, it was like, what is she doing? But
it's like, your child flipping... No, my child's not.
But you know what? My dad does that. He points with his middle finger with everything. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So I thought, maybe she's just like dad, you know? But she taps everything. So if you were to give my daughter a new object, when she looks at it, she taps with her middle finger to become familiar with it. And that was something that was really consistent for her. And
let's be clear here. Autism isn't any type of set diagnoses.
No.
It's such a... That's why they say it's a spectrum. Because there are so many some people fully functioning, and you almost can't tell there's on some level of the spectrum.
For
Other
sure.
people, you're like, all right, I need to figure out how you live in this world.
Absolutely.
Just like I do.
Yeah.
Kind of how you see it, kind of thing.
And I'm still learning as I follow through this. So the thing is with my daughter, the reason why I haven't really came out with everything and pushing for advocacy, which I hope to one day do, is because there's such a big waiting list to get evaluated, formally evaluated. And so, but her doctor, pediatrician, everybody has pretty much who their focus is autism has said, hey, we believe that she's on the spectrum. Now, the formality of it, of getting her tested and evaluated, it's just, there's just such an insane list right now. So we're waiting. She's actually going to be evaluated formally in July.
Perfect.
So it's
finally
around the
getting
corner.
it done.
Yeah.
So have you seen anything different? Obviously, we're not young chickens anymore.
Yeah.
We've lived life. We've got some experience. We've been around kids.
Yeah.
So you've been in cars with children before.
For sure.
We've all had that experience, whether
Yeah.
it's good or bad.
Even if it's ourselves. I
Even
used to
if it's
open the door.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I was horrible.
So my mom was a big stickler. And maybe that's where I got it from. There's no cops in my family, but my mom would never put that car in drive.
Yeah.
If the seatbelts weren't on.
For sure.
Big on that. Have you noticed things from your experience with your daughter, maybe little extra steps or things you do to make sure she's comfortable? Because I don't have any experience in the autism world. But in today's society, rewind 20 years ago, law enforcement did not have programs. Now we have stickers that identify cars with occupants so that we know that we might have to approach things a little different.
Yeah.
Are there things that you do differently?
Absolutely. So like the biggest thing that I notice with my daughter is that she also, which again is very common with someone who is on the spectrum, is that sensory things.
Okay.
She doesn't like wearing, the long sleeves. She doesn't. She's very, very particular.
Is that all the time or just in the car?
All the time.
Okay.
So what happens is in the car, in turn, I've noticed that she doesn't like to be in restraints.
Okay, so the
She
seatbelt
doesn't like the
is a
seatbelt.
problem.
Yes.
Okay.
She doesn't like that top buckle. It's always an issue.
Oh, on the car seat.
Correct. In the
Because that's
car
almost
seat.
like a 5-point harness.
Yeah.
There, a 4-point harness because it's just
it's
secured
a strap here. You have a strap in the middle, and then you have the bottom one.
Right.
So the bottom one she's very comfortable with. That top one is we always have issues. Now, regardless of me buckling it, she's an escape artist.
And it always
the arms will come out
Okay.
because she refuses to be stuck in, right?
Right.
So that right away became an issue.
Okay.
Another thing, she's also very curious, the opening of the door. So right away I had to notice, okay, I have to lock my doors.
So
that was like,
you got to enable the child lock. So
child
let
lock
them play
is,
with it.
Listen.
And the window lock.
Absolutely.
So you found that your child, even though a child, almost an infant at some point, was sitting there and fully being able to open the door.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So that was scary.
Yeah, I'm sure the first time that opened.
Oh, you want to know something even scarier? Is that I'm driving, coming back from therapy. It was speech therapy. We were driving back, and I noticed in my rear view that she was like moving up and like back and forth in her car seat, but more extended than normal. And she escaped. She got out of her car seat. She managed to literally pop open the car seat, which this is a brand new practical car seat. You know, it's not like a hand me down or anything. This is like something that I invested in. It's a great quality. And she got out. And it's just because they refuse to be in that restraint.
Interesting.
And I don't know, something that I'm learning too, just within the community, man, the strength of someone who's on the spectrum, sometimes I almost feel like they have superpowers because they're just so strong.
There's a, like, I think almost a misfire between understanding how strong how much strength you have to put behind certain things.
Yeah, that's true. And so, and that's the thing too. So like with Avery, I've just been very, very mindful when it comes to the restraints. And one thing, like I said, I'm very brand new to this. I'm so opening. So if anybody that's watching that might have like any tips and tricks or foundations or groups or anything, I'm so open for, because I'm completely new to this. And one thing that me and my mom and my husband said going into this is we almost feel like Finding Nemo in the ocean. Yeah. Like, because it's just so vast and there's just so much and it's overwhelming. But
do you find that there's almost, and not in a negative way, rewind 20 years ago, we were adults then, and you had a child with autism, the resources would not be available.
No, not at all.
Do you almost find, again, not in a bad way, but
everybody's
overwhelming
learning
resources, because there's this, there's that, there's, hey, this program, there's these pamphlets, and it's like, where do I figure this out?
This is the thing, Steve. I feel like what's happening now in this area, right, when it comes to autism, is that everybody is learning about it.
Okay.
You're getting a lot of people that are trying to bring and fight for awareness for it, because not a lot of folks know. And then what's happening is, unfortunately, we hear these stories where children go missing, and unfortunately, kids that are on the spectrum are usually attracted to water. It's a thing. And again, the sensory thing, right? And so that's when we're hearing about autism, and so we hear about the tragedies, but we're not educating ourselves to know, like, okay, this is how we approach someone with autism,
right,
or a child with autism, or maybe, hey, let's educate our children to interact with kids that have autism, because they are different. And sometimes it's just like, there is resources out there, but not everyone's talking about it. So what's happening is that not everybody's educated on, hey, did you know that Deltona Fire Rescue actually just came out with, you know, an initiative that they're starting?
You were telling me about that.
So I'm learning as I go, and
it's almost majority of the communities now. So like, if people were proactive to just start, I would say start at
talking
your local
about it.
first responders first.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be the ones that are probably getting the most valid information. So like, before we head back, I wanted to talk about a few of those things, because some people think autism, it's like so many extra steps, and in actuality it's actually just going through the steps.
Correct.
And some people go, wait, what? So like, every morning I'm out there preaching traffic safety, right?
Yeah.
So people are like, duh, but I'm there because people aren't doing it.
Yeah.
So the way we kind of explain the autism safety on the traffic side, it's like, actually go through the steps with your passengers.
Yep.
Give them the opportunity, even though they might not be driving, let them experience the car.
Yeah.
So approach the car.
Step by step.
Step by step. To us, it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's to get them familiar.
You got to remember, they're living in a completely different world. We're in the same planet. We just see it differently.
Correct.
And it's not any negative or positive. It's just different.
And two, Steve, I'm going to mention is that, again, because it's a spectrum, sometimes that child or that individual that has autism, maybe their way of learning and grasping information might not be the physical and seeing the car and being in it. They're really big on signage, like showing like an actual car, or showing like a highway and saying, hey, you're going to go in the car. We're going on a big trip. You know, I
and
can
actually
do that with
make
my
a
daughter.
Plan.
Correct.
So I was reading that this morning. Again, I'm learning this too, and I think it's good because I'm stepping out of my bubble, but it's like,
and I appreciate
we want consistency, and then when you break the plan, it stresses
and they're
out.
big on routine.
Okay.
Avery's huge on routine. You get her out of a routine or out of, you know, an element, like if we're staying at a hotel one weekend, it's going to take a lot for her to adjust and kind of say,
really?
Okay, because she's used to going to her bed. She's used to having bath time and brushing her teeth, and she has her routine. So it's like, once you break that, and so maybe even if there's a routine built going into the vehicle, you know, hey, we're going in the car.
How'd you get her used to the car seat? Was it repetition?
Repetition. The thing is, she's always been used to it, right? Like, she's always been in her car seat. So it wasn't until as she got like maybe 2.5, 3 was when we started noticing, hey, she doesn't like being restrained. She's very like, you know, fighting it and stuff like that. So, and then the curiosity of the door and stuff started now that she's a toddler, right?
Okay.
So now I'm still trying to, you know, I'm like, hey, we're almost home. We're getting there. I'll usually give her toys. I'll give her her snack. So when she's in her car seat, like normal, at least she has like a snack that she's picking at, or she has her toys, her sensory toys.
What do you think going forward you will have to, as your child gets older in the car, and some of the tips that we've talked about that you'll have to begin to implement?
Repetition. Repetition is key.
Okay.
I think that's going to be the biggest thing.
Sticking to the plan as the adult.
Correct.
Okay.
And her knowing what the steps are, and just being knowledgeable on that, and always repeating the safety
not treating
in the car.
it like it's a disability.
No,
because so many times it's like on the
she
first
will be
responder
exposed
side,
to
it's like
it all.
never, you got to talk with them.
Yeah.
You never talk at anybody with a disability first and foremost. But it's like they're, in most cases, this autism gives them an ability to think like we could only dream about thinking, right?
Yes.
And it's like, it might be different for you, but they know what's going on more than you do.
Because you know what's the scary thing is when you first learn that your child has autism, right?
Right.
I'm not going to lie. There's a grieving process as a mom. Because you don't know, you're learning, you're trying to figure it out. You want the best resources for your kid as possible, right? But you don't know. So you're learning. And the biggest thing with this is that I noticed with Avery is that I don't want to hinder her from any opportunity, in a sense of she's very high functioning, right?
Okay.
So she hyper focuses on letters, on colors, on numbers. So at a young age, she was able to recite the ABCs, and she can recognize letters, and I'm so thankful for that. And I'm thankful that she is verbal. Sometimes I meet a lot of, within the community, I meet parents that their child is nonverbal, so they can't have that communication factor.
And they have to find a new way to communicate.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, it's like, you expose them to the norm as far as activities and getting in the car and driving on trips and animals and all the craziness that we always
right.
I don't want to even say a normal child, but someone who's not on the spectrum, what you expose them to, you do that for your child, and maybe they might not receive it the way another child would or how you would, but at least you're exposing it to them, and then you're going to learn, okay, well, how do they take that in? Oh, maybe that overstimulates her. Okay, well, then I'm going to take back on that, and I'm going to do it this way.
I love it.
And you just figure out, just like you said, it's not a matter of closing the door on different opportunities. It's more of learning how they learn and how they view it and how they process it, and then they can take it in. Because I think every child that's on the spectrum deserves to experience life the way we do. And I think no one should look at them differently. They should just have the patience and the ability to say, okay, well, you're different, so how can I help you? How can I figure out, the way you're moving?
Dropping the facts on autism
and I'm learning.
Safety.
I'm learning.
We all are learning every single day, and if we're not, then we're doing something wrong.
And I really appreciate you taking the time to do
this.
Well, because it's big.
It is big, and I think previous to Autism Awareness, there have been encounters in law enforcement that could have been prevented.
Yeah.
At no fault to either side.
For sure.
But a lack of knowledge.
There you go.
Or awareness of what someone might be experiencing.
Yeah.
And me or that law enforcement personnel perceiving it as something that it's not.
Correct.
And I think in today's society, when we can understand that people see things differently, they may look 100% aware, but you guys are just not speaking the same language.
Exactly.
Things we can either make or break by some training.
Yep.
And I think having our passengers trained, whether you're taking your passenger and getting them used to the car, teaching them about the car, having a plan, and then, of course, getting the awareness through local agencies, the stickers on the car, understanding that, you know what, that traffic stop might take a little while longer, or, the person in the car may need a few rounds around the block.
Exactly.
Before they get used to being in the car.
And the biggest thing too is I want to encourage any caregiver or parent that does have a loved one or know someone that is on the spectrum. The biggest thing is the way you find out about your resources. Like, for instance, me, I just moved back to Volusia County. I grew up in Volusia County.
Right.
I'm a Deltona resident. So what I did was right away I followed all of our law enforcement agencies on social media.
Right.
And at the same time, that's how I came across a lot of them posting different initiatives of what they're doing. The stickers on the cars, the stickers on the home. So if, God forbid,
or something comes to the house,
they know there's an autistic person that lives in this home, in this residence, or there's a child that's in the car that is autistic.
Because they might like to hide.
Correct.
Or in a case of emergency.
And one thing that's amazing that I wanted to hit on in Deltona right now, they're DeltonaFireFightersFoundation.org. They have this awesome initiative that is called Claire's Covers, and it's almost like a Velcro cover that they're putting on car seats, and it has a QR code that once an emergency, responder that's responding to the scene with the vehicle, and they see the child and it has that strap, that cover, they can scan the code, and right away all of the information on that child is going to be on there. Whether they have a comfort blanket, whether they don't really, are able to talk to men,
the parent
if they're
or guardian would
nonverbal.
Personalize that profile.
Exactly.
This is genius.
It's amazing. So, you know what I'm saying? I love the fact that so many different agencies are coming up with these programs, and I love it because I've also learned that a lot of these people that work in law enforcement and different agencies, they might have a child that's also on the spectrum.
Absolutely.
So I applaud you. I'm so thankful for that.
No, this was great because this is cool that we get to have discussions like this. It's candid. People get to know you a little bit better.
For sure. And if you have any resources, let me know.
No, well, definitely. Guys, comment on YouTube if you got anything. Hit her up on Facebook. She's got all her Instagram socials and stuff if you got any resources. It's one big team. She's not the only one. We all know somebody.
That knows someone. That knows someone.
Right, exactly. What's that song that you were going
Everybody knows somebody.
Yeah, we all started jamming out there for a second. Hey guys, thank you for joining us. Stay dry this morning. Please drive safely. It's going to cool down this afternoon. It's already 66 degrees.
I know. I love it. We need it.
I need my couch. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.